Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fred Minnick Show. I've got the gang all here again. Eric Caracal, who is the owner of the Woodford Hotel, which, by the way, is now the official hotel of the Fred Minnick Show. You get a couple drinks in Eric, and he's like a dadgum comedian. And of course, you got the master distiller here, Dan McKee. He's becoming really iconic and famous in these whiskey-making circles. They just keep dropping hit after hit after hit. And of course, my buddy Jamar Mack, the founder of Kentucky's original black bourbon enthusiast. Now, not too long ago, Jamar announced that Kobe is transitioning from a membership organization to a group that's just going to be focusing on charity causes and community impact. This week's guest, Amanda Vance, is one of the top handicappers in the entire world. She's got more than 500,000 followers on Instagram. If you follow her pics, you're most likely going to win, but I have found her to be fascinating, and this interview is a lot of fun. I did not know she used to be a Miami Dolphins cheerleader. I think a lot of people would lead with that, but she is much more than a cheerleader. Enjoy this week's episode with Amanda Vance. Once again, I got my buddies here, and Dallas White, the man behind the stick at Michter's, has a special cocktail for us to drink while we just basically shoot the shit. Check it out. The Manhattan. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite cocktails in the world, and probably my top 5 for whiskey cocktails. It's the Manhattan. Now, the Michter's Bourbon Manhattan is made, of course, with Michter's and their own vermouth, some apricot brandy, a dash of orange bitters, and some Boker's bitters. You know, it is unique to have 2 types of bitters. Stir and strain into a coupe glass, express orange oil on top, and garnish with an orange twist. And if you don't know how to make an orange twist, best Google it. So, Dallas, you like to gamble?
I like to gamble, but I stay away from gambling.
Now, why is that? Are you like afraid that you're gonna, lose a little money?
Hey man, sometimes you have a little bit too much fun.
Yeah.
You get a little too into it.
When you do gamble, what's your play? What do you do?
Honestly, I like cards more than anything else. It gives me at least something to focus on, and it's not just put money in, lose money out.
So who here is a degenerate gambler?
Sounds like Eric.
Yeah, we all turn to look at this guy.
No, I was taught at a very young age how to gamble because my father went to MIT, and that was the same time that the MIT blackjack team was created. And so he spent a lot of time in Vegas. And my parents, they're also into horses too. So, they have quite a few horses. It kind of just comes along with being a big numbers fan.
Yeah.
So, Dan, do you like to play any gambling action?
Well, it's been a while. I do enjoy betting, but I've always felt I bet with feelings, so I would lose. So I stick to that opportunity when I go out to Vegas or something, play blackjack, and just kind of stay there. Okay. But I enjoy it, though.
Now, Jamar, you play the ponies every now and then, right? You go to Churchill Downs. You like to play the ponies some?
Absolutely not. Maybe Derby.
Okay.
I am the most frugal, free person with money.
Wow.
I don't mind spending money, but I do not like to spend money. So gambling is not a choice much for me.
So here's the crazy part about that. You don't like to spend money, yet you found the hobby / profession of bourbon, where we spend way too much money.
Yes. It is definitely a
By the way, thank you, Jamar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to that part. So, no. But not a big gambler, but I definitely do enjoy some more refined things out there for sure.
So this interview with Amanda is this amazing young woman who has become a celebrity handicapper, and she's an influencer, large on Instagram and everything. And I think that sometimes when someone is an influencer or in that world, they get kind of like downgraded by the pros of that world. I know us old school bourbon guys, when someone comes out as an influencer, we're like, sometimes every now and then it happens. But you cannot deny someone who has a 68% winning percentage with their handicapping. And that's what Amanda has done. And this episode is about how she's built her career. And, in the new format of the show. It's not me teaching people how to drink, but she's just having a sip of bourbon while we're talking. So everyone take a look at this conversation I had with Amanda Vance, and hopefully maybe some of her picks will help you later on down the line. And the four of us will be right back afterwards, so don't go anywhere. Cheers. And joining the Fred Minnick Show, professional handicapper Amanda Vance. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. We're almost football season, so I'm doing good.
I know football will be here when
Tomorrow.
football, and that's right. So like as we record this now, what is it called? The Hall of Fame game is coming up like soon. That always watch that. But I love the Hall of Fame speeches too. Like those.
I love anything. I'll watch Hard Knocks. I'll go and watch reruns of the Steelers and they're in the Super Bowl. I'll watch anything to get me through these couple of months. So I'll take a Hall of Fame preseason game.
So no baseball, basketball, none of that doing
I'm
it for you?
doing it all. I do every sport. I'm doing baseball right now. And I don't mind it, but when there's just one sport on, especially as a handicapper, you itch to kind of mix it up. So it'll be really nice. And it's like almost time of pointless baseball right now. Teams are giving up, trading away guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, baseball. Baseball's a fun one to follow right now because you have the two best players in the game on one team, and that team just sucks. Like it's like, you have Shohei Ohtani and then Mike Trout on the Angels.
Faded them last night. Yep.
They're just like wasting them, you know?
It is. I'm a Pirates fan, so I'm used to wasting talent. We just traded away Santana, Choi. I mean, we had McCutcheon. I was thinking, maybe we started the year so awesome, but I can't believe in April the Pirates looked the way they did, and now they already back to having the worst record in baseball. But I'm used to it.
I'm a Brewers fan, and we've dusted off the loser mentality the last decade. I think Prince Fielder was a big part of changing the mindset in Brewers country. But
you just got Santana from the Pirates, and he was great at first base, and I already had to hear my dad this weekend, so he should be good for you. It's looking up. It's looking better than we are.
let's hope that we actually do something in the playoffs this year. But so I had several bottles sent to you. Now I sent you the Stellum Rye, and that's going to be one that is very spicy, got like kind of herbal notes to it. The Sealbox one is going to be like sweet, like a piece of like candy, like a hard cinnamon candy or something like that. And so that'll be sweet. And then I sent you the my barrel pick from Town Branch. That is a single barrel pick that I did. Also, the Stellum one was. These are from my club Marzipan. Okay. So these are only people like in my club get these. So you got some pretty special, some pretty fun stuff.
What's your favorite of this batch?
Of what I sent you, I'd probably say the Stellum. But you have to like herbs and like spiciness there. So
I kind of want to try the sweet. You said this.
Sealbox that'll be a very sweet pour right there.
Yeah, they're nice bottles. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So pour that, and this is a kind of like I was telling you at the top of when we were just getting connected online. Right. That in season 3 I'm changing the way we do this show. Like before, it was just a bunch of drinking and back and forth. I don't want it to focus too much on the drinking. I just want you to sip it, enjoy, and just kind of talk about you. So I'm gonna pour myself some here too.
Sounds yummy.
So cheers! Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Nice.
So tell I know you tell this all the time, but for my folks, tell everyone how you got into to handicapping. It's not exactly a profession that you can go to school for.
And I did go to school, and I was born and raised in South Florida, actually. Right now I'm in Columbus, back and forth, and I was a Dolphins cheerleader through college. So my dad hated that because he raised me a diehard Pittsburgh everything. And I was kind of a COVID baby I'm 27. I took the 6-year plan. So I'm graduating and I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. Got in touch with Chris Myers, some of the most amazing guys, Nate Burlinson in the league, asking like, can I shadow you? Can I learn from you? They were super kind. I started doing NFL interviews. My first interview was Nick Bosa. So then my second one was Duck Hodges. He was our starting quarterback the year Ben and Mason Rudolph went down. And I really just understood the game of football so well. So I started to put up on my social media my predictions for the games. And since I knew the NFL so well, I was calling it right. And then that's kind of where I got started. I worked with DraftKings and I primarily focused on NFL at first, but there's sports year round. So then I started getting into hockey, getting into baseball, getting into basketball, posting free plays for a couple of years to the point where people were itching from when I wasn't posting. I'm like, guys, I'm taking a day off. So that at that point I knew I'm going to sell these. I'm going to make a business out of it. It was not my original plan, and the sports gambling industry is just on a rise. And at that moment, it was only legal in, I think, 4 states. Now it's mobilely legal in 13. So it's growing. I saw an opportunity, and I just love it. I mean, I'm crazy. I always say this isn't for everybody because it's stressful. You got to want to watch sports every single day. You got to constantly know what's going on, and you're sick to your stomach half the time because you're losing bets. I mean, it really is a 50-50 industry. So I
but
loved it.
You're on the other side of 50. You're like 68%, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely have a winning percentage where people wouldn't keep coming back. But I'm hard on myself. I always say I'm not one of those handicappers that just want to take people's money. People will tell me, oh, hey, I need to pay for my kids' football camp this summer. Like, I'm trying to win a couple $1,000s. So when I lose, I take it to heart. It's not for the weak. It's tough.
Do you have to get like special licensing or anything like that through those states that allow gambling?
No, and the funny part is it's legal for me to sell them everywhere. So even if you're in a non-betting state, you can still buy my picks because they're not placing them for me. I'm just giving them essentially advice.
You're giving out information. You're not actually taking the bet. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So it's fun.
Are you still partnered with DraftKings?
I'm not. This year, I have my own website now where I sell my bets individually. So I'm working for myself now, which is fun. I mean, I'm so lucky I got to work with Bleacher Report and Caesar Sportsbook at the Super Bowl and some awesome companies that, helped me to grow and believed in me. And I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for working with them. So I'm so entirely grateful. But at the moment, it's Amanda. It's all Amanda. Well,
I mean, there's some power in that. I'm independent as well. I was with networks for a while, and you start seeing the numbers, and it's like, what are you all doing for me? So it's like I can do this myself. So.
Oh yeah, and now that I have my business, it feels like everybody wants to get involved, and that is a sign to keep doing it yourself and to sell yourself short to nobody. And I'm young, so I'm still learning. Wish I did it years prior, had friends telling me to, but took a certain level where you believe in yourself and you know that you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are formulating your picks, are you watching everything that's just public, or do you have insiders at teams that you can talk to?
Yeah, I mean, I pay for all the softwares to see where the money's going because I'm a big fade the public girl. Vegas always wins, never forget that. So I look at all those stats and obviously who's supposed to start, who might start. I have some resources where I get that information, but I use a million things. I don't use just one. Yeah, and I watch the games every day. So it's also just knowing the sport, feeling the trends, seeing what's going on, and having a feel for it. But I use a ton of things. My biggest resource is where the public is actually betting, where the money's going into.
So you're more interested in following the public than necessarily like injury reports and things like that.
Nope, I do it all. I do it all. But when I love something and I know I love it right away, if you go and look and the public is with you 90%, gotta think, who's going to win here? And, the public is dumb. The public is not usually right, especially NFL. Every time I fade the public. It's especially primetime games. Not every time, primetime games. Last year, I think it was the Texans and the Eagles. Texans were plus 14. I'm sitting there like, how do they keep it within 14? This isn't going to happen. But the public thought the same. They were so heavy on the Eagles. I went with the Texans. And the Texans somehow did it. And those are one of those nights I was like, yep. Just fade the public. Sometimes when it makes no sense.
Now, do you do the what they call prop bets, like who's going to catch the first pass and things like that?
Sometimes I don't give those out because those are so risky. I'll do like first touchdown. Sometimes Travis Kelce every time is my best bet. It's always put $100 in, you can win, 600. Safe plays like that, but I don't give those out because that's degenerate stuff.
Yeah, that hurts your percentage, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Do you? So we're talking about football mostly here, and we'll get to some of the other sports, soon. But let's talk about this season. Like, who are your favorites to come out of each division as the winner?
Well, I'm gonna start with the AFC North because that's my favorite division. I think the Steelers are one of the most underestimated teams in the NFL. Joe Burrow is now injured. We don't know how Deshaun Watson's going to do again, and the Browns are the Browns. Lamar Jackson, I always say the Ravens always have a chance. Now they have OBJ. I expect them to be competitive. I think that's going to be the most competitive division. If Burrow's healthy, it'll be the Bengals. If not, I think it could be Pittsburgh. I think it could be Kenny Pickett. TJ Watt's healthy. We have the best receivers. I think they'll be good. AFC East is a fun one. I love Buffalo. I was a Dolphins cheerleader for a couple of years, so I, along with the rest of Miami, know how it is to get your hopes up and think that they give fans just enough hope where it's better to have none at all.
Yeah, well, that coach is hilarious. Mike McDaniel, like his press conferences, like he cracks me up. He's like the funniest guy. You see the one of him hitting the vape on the sideline?
Oh
no, I didn't see that one.
The game. He's like has like his shirt on. You could see him like hitting the vape, and they asked him about it in an interview, and he didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He brushed it off in just a Mike McDaniel way. He's an oddball.
He is odd.
Can't be weird and goofy until you've won anything. That's my opinion. Stay humble.
Yeah. The thing is like the Dolphins, Tua is so good. He is so good, but like, man, I just I get nervous with his health,
Oh yeah, one more concussion, he shouldn't play again.
Yeah.
And as long as Tyreek Hill's on the field, they'll have a shot. But there's other components, clearly. I mean, last year, I thought they were going to do something. And then, obviously, the Chiefs will be up there again. As long as Pat Mahomes is healthy, I don't see them not being a contender. I think the Chargers could be good. The Jags from that division, they'll be fun. They made the playoffs last year, and Trevor Lawrence he looks like the number 1 overall draft pick, in my opinion. He looks good. I think it took some years to build a team around him, but I think now he has some weapons. He should be good. The NFC
has there ever been a long-haired quarterback win the Super Bowl?
I'm sure.
I don't know. Did Kenny Stabler have long hair? No, that was his wide receiver.
They go through so many. I mean, I'm even thinking like Aaron Rodgers. Well, back in the day when we played him and they got theirs, did he have long hair at that time?
Yeah, he was clean cut then. He's done long hair. I think that was pre-Shrooms Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
NFC is going to be fun though. I mean, I think the Lions will be decent this. Excuse me. This year. All the good quarterbacks are in the AFC, especially with Rodgers going to the Jets. I mean, I don't know who's going to jump up and be good. The Niners should be one of the best teams. And Philly, I think Philly will win that division. It's them or Dallas, but I don't like Dallas. So
yeah,
I'll take it.
Do you not like them because you don't like them, or do you not like them because of their team dynamic?
I think it's the fans. It's like they're America's team. But, back in the day, when the Steelers beat them in the Super Bowl, they called up the owners and said, we want to make the Steelers America's team. And Pittsburgh said, no, we're not. I heard he took the cigar out of his mouth and he said, no, we're not America's team. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I feel like, yeah, they're in Dallas, but they just bother me. The fans are so obnoxious.
Well, Jerry used eminent domain to kick old ladies out of their homes to build Jerry World. So
There you go.
That's always bugged me.
Yeah, there's a million reasons, but
Yeah, what do you think of the Commanders? I find them very intriguing.
you know, when Heineke held their own against Brady and the Bucks that year, I thought, okay, he didn't win the game. He kept it. I think they covered the spread. It was like 8. He kept it close. And then I'm a Buckeye fan. I mean, up there you can see I have some Michigan toilet paper. So my dad's a Buckeye. I'm in Columbus, big Buckeye fan. And I thought Chase Young was going to be so much better. Now he's injured, and
Yeah.
I don't think much of them. I think it's them and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are predicted to lose every game this year, and the Commanders are right behind them. And I do think I would take the under on them. I think it's like 5 games. I don't think they'll be very good.
Oh, wow.
Tough division, too. I mean, the Giants looked better last year. Philly's Philly right now. The Cowboys are always kind of in the mix, and they have the weapons. I think they will definitely be finished last in that division.
1 second. Hold on. Okay, so one of the main topics for everybody right now is, and what does Jordan Love look like for the Packers? And everybody who has any kind of source there is really quick to point out that no one's really in love with this guy. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing to love is his last name. He's had chances. They threw him in a couple times. They had chances for him to look promising. And, I mean, Rodgers now taking pay cuts and doing everything the Packers wanted him to do for years. I think it's going to be quite interesting for them. I mean, they lost. I mean, even Devontae Adams is taking pay cuts. I mean, they lost pretty much everybody. They had a wide receiver issue last year. And, and what was it? I want to say like 9 years in a row, Rodgers was like, please draft a receiver round 1. Draft an offensive player. And every single season, the only offensive player they drafted, in which they traded up to get him, was Jordan Love. And I think at that moment, Rodgers was like, I'm done. I'm over this, because they weren't giving him any help. I mean, he's Rodgers, but if you want him to be good, you got to surround the team like you believe in him. And they did not do that. He was throwing to guys I had no idea their names last year at some points. I was like, who's this guy? I mean, he can make anybody good, but Jordan Love is not that guy. He's going to struggle. And I don't think that they stand a chance. I think the Bears even come out with a better record this season. And I don't believe in Justin Fields, so that's saying a lot.
Wow, and he's an Ohio State guy.
Mm-hmm. They don't pan out in the NFL. Ohio State quarterbacks do not pan out in the NFL. C.J. Stroud's going to be another story. R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins. But.
Well, I mean, I guess the last ones, may he rest in peace, was Haskins. That's the last one.
I said yes, rest in peace. It's funny enough, I was in Columbus. I'm a Buckeye fan, and I'm a Steeler fan. And that was before we had drafted Kenny. I don't think we would have drafted Kenny. It was him, Mason, and Mitch kind of fighting for the job. Yeah. When I found out that news, it happened in Fort Lauderdale, where I'm from, and I was in Columbus, and I'm a fan of both teams. That was just a very weird day, weird time for the whole team, but not expected.
So as you can probably tell from my hat, I went to the other OSU, where Mason Rudolph also went to at Oklahoma State.
What are your thoughts on that guy? I got to know.
Well, we're very proud of him. We don't have a long history of quarterbacks in the NFL. We've had Brandon Weeden, him. And, I think we had a guy, Zach Robinson, who's a 7th-round pick for the Patriots. But really, I think our best quarterback of all time, if you look at it collegiately, was Mike Gundy when he played there in the 80s. But we don't have a storied history of quarterbacks. Running backs, absolutely. We got, Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas. We've had was a guy from the guy that went to Denver, Tatum Bell. We've had a lot of really good running backs over the years.
Yeah.
Wide receivers too: Des Bryant, Justin Blackmon, the Cheetah, and Tyreek Hill. So
Right.
we've had a lot of great players there, but quarterback, no.
I was at that game, that helmet game. I was there Thursday night football in Cleveland.
Really?
I was there, and it's kind of like the most Browns way to beat the Steelers. I mean, I don't think they beat them in like 6 years at that point. And all over the TVs the next day, you just see slow motion of Myles Garrett hitting him in the head. And it's like they weren't even happy for the win because you knew Garrett was suspended, maybe not returning to the NFL, maybe going to jail because they were saying he tried to kill him on the field. And I think that was the game. He's okay, but I don't believe in him being our starter. He's also had chances, and he hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked like the guy.
Yeah, I mean he's not the guy, but to be a backup quarterback in the NFL, I mean you're still, what's he making, 5-6 million? You know?
He's our third string. I say we have the best quarterback depth in the league. We have him, Mitch, and Kenny. And usually when Ben was our quarterback for years, I love him, I'd be sitting there praying, like, if he goes down, no shot. But now I'm like, you know what? We got some backups, and they could get the job done. So he's the best third string in the NFL, and I'm happy he's on my team.
So one of the things that comes up a lot now is like social media, and
Right.
social media is everywhere, right? Everybody's on it. Do you,
Right.
not to say you stalk players, but do you watch players on the social media, and do you make observations that will impact your lines or however you make suggestions?
Like their drama, their tweets, is that what you mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back to Juju saying the Browns is the Browns, and I look at those things. George Pickens, now our new star receiver, is saying the ball should go to him every time. I do see those, and I don't think it ever helps them. I loved that Big Ben didn't have an Instagram. I think if you're going to tweet something online, it gives the other team so much fuel, and I do take it into consideration. I believe in like revenge games. I love revenge games.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the NFL fun. They can actually hit them. It's not like baseball where, I mean, you can believe in a guy going up to the plate for the first time, making his debut, that he's going to do something. But in the NFL, if you're talking crap and you're a quarterback or you're a receiver, they're going to take you out for sure.
So when you are making your picks, the
Right.
quarterback is obviously the most important person on the field for both teams.
Right.
But is there a player that overrides that? Like, and if they're hurt, it'll change how you do a pick, like maybe a Derrick Henry?
Oh yeah, for sure. If that's their offense, I mean, look at Tannehill the past couple of years. He hasn't looked like anything special. That's their main offense, of course. Big for me is offensive and defensive lines, though. I mean, in football, that is, if you're facing TJ and the Steelers healthy, and let's say the Bengals have 3 guys got injured the week prior, I'm going to take the defense. I'm a big believer in defense in the NFL. And that can make a quarterback stink. Unless you're Pat Mahomes and you're that mobile guy that can outrun everybody and somehow play with a hurt ankle in the Super Bowl, then I'm gonna fade you.
Yeah. All right, let's switch to some other sports. Do you play the ponies? Do you do horse racing?
Not too much. I'll give out sometimes for fun, but I'm not. Is that your forte? Can you tell me about
Well,
it?
I mean,
Get me into it.
If you're hitting like 20% in ponies, you're doing great, right? It's not, it's if you were to do bets, the best bet to make and to like not lose your ass consistently, would not to be do a win play show, but it would be to like do an exacta box. So pick your 2 favorite horses, box them. And I go by speed. I go by speed and like past performances and jockeys.
I took one of the Japanese horses to finish in the top 5. Like, I like doing that, like to place, and then the odds are still awesome. And I took him top 5. He finished number 6. So that's just my luck. Literally 6. And they were only showing the top 4 on the screen. I'm sitting there on Twitter searching his name. I honestly can't even tell you at the moment. And I'm just trying to find out. And they took like an hour for them to officially display. And I was like, I know he was on the border. He was either 5 or 6. Did I hit the bet or not? So
he lost about, if he had been in the top 5, his stud fee would have went up another 10 grand or something probably.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm not an expert, but I did some research that day. Saw he won a race that, and I know those horses don't traditionally do well in the Derby. That's why it was a risky take. But he was the guy, from what I heard, that if anybody's going to do it, it's him. And yeah, I mean, that's like betting on the home run Derby, which, by the way, that I love. That is fun for me. But it's, the same kind of thing. Honestly, some of those days, if I put out 3 bets for something like that, I tell myself all the time, for fun, Amanda, why don't you just close your eyes, put them on the wall, and throw darts and see what it lands on, because you're probably better off doing that. But I know there's strategy towards it, but I can't say it's one of my
our strategy last year was reading the horse names and giving them the speed, and giving my 4-year-old all the details that I just gave you, and he would pick them. Okay. And he was hitting like 80%. I'm not even kidding. He was like a little savant. So
next year, give me a call right before that.
Yeah.
I'll have him make my bets.
So we talked a little bit about baseball. I'm not really into hockey. I've tried to get into hockey, but how do you? I've tried. I've even been to what's the DC team name? Flyers? No, that's Philly. What's DC called?
DC,
Capitals.
Detroit.
DC
Washington.
Washington DC Capitals. I've been to a Penguins Capitals game.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of died down a little bit. People aren't talking about him right now. So before I was a Dolphin cheerleader, when I was 7, I graduated high school at 17. Dolphins told me I couldn't do the team because I was 17, but the Florida Panthers had a cheer team. So I did that for a season. Dad's a big Penguins fan, raised me that way, and we have Sidney Crosby and Malkin and Letang, and we have kind of the studs that are all old now. And the Panthers, coincidentally, went to the Stanley Cup this year. I went to Vegas to watch a game, and they're the new, young, fun team, so it's kind of cool. This was Florida's year to disappoint, though. I mean, with basketball, the Heat making it to the finals as the 8th seed. The Panthers beat the Bruins and went there. So, hockey's fun. I think it's fun because there's always a chance. It can be, I've had the over in a game where the over is 6.5 goals. It's gone into the third period, 0-0, and I've had 8 goals scored. I mean, there's always a chance, and I think that's what makes it fun in comparison to, like, basketball. I mean, baseball, I guess that happens. There's miracles. You can run up a lot of runs, but hockey is just, it's fun in the playoffs. Next year, you got to start following in the playoffs. Pick a team, put a little future on them, and it's fun.
All right.
And they hit each other. They get to hit each other.
That part I like. That
That's
part
fun.
I like the fighting.
Yeah.
Do
Are
you
you a basketball guy?
I watch basketball, but it's been, it's just not competitive. It's like you have like 6 teams.
Yeah.
The Denver winning was probably the most exciting basketball I had seen in ages. Just because you just kind of know how these games are going to go, and Denver's never won anything. And I'm not going to say the NBA's rigged or anything like that.
Oh, it is. It's okay.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, they've had actual people go to prison for fixing games. So
and it is hard to be into something, and sometimes the NFL, I mean, I won't get into that, but it makes it not as fun to watch. But what about March Madness? Do you ever follow that in March?
Especially if Oklahoma State's involved. Absolutely. Or Louisville or Kentucky. Yeah.
I went to FAU, and we went to the Final Four this year. I went to Houston, watched us lose by a buzzer beater. That was rough. But my school's never done anything.
I will correct you on that. You all, at the time of you all beating us on our home court, it was the biggest upset statistically when Florida Atlantic beat Oklahoma State. I think the year was 1998. Okay. They were the last ranked team in like all of everything. Like they were like below I think below D2 schools. It was they were awful. And they beat us, and we weren't top 10, but we were like top 15 or something.
Right.
And it was statistically like at that time the biggest upset on a home court. So we have a shot at basketball again this year. Brought the whole team back, the coach. But, Lane Kiffin was our football coach a couple of years back, and we were supposed to do something then too. And you had Howard Schnellenberger back in the day.
Yeah. Anthony Rizzo went to FAU too. So we have some star. Singletary from the Bills. I mean, there's some star athletes that come out of there, but
and it's Florida, so you all can draw from the best athletes in the world.
It was kind of funny though seeing the parades in Florida when they went to the Final Four and seeing like all the 80-year-olds standing outside of the school at 9 a.m. Like you would think it'd be like a bunch of crazy kids with beers, and there's just all old people. Like I'm like, that's my town. Boca Raton is known for old people. That's why it's not a sports town.
So are you from Boca?
Mm-hmm. Born and raised.
So when I used to actually write for a magazine called Elder, and it was about writing about the elderly. And I went there to do a story on this woman. She was the countess, and she was like uber wealthy. And there's a college there called Lynn College. Is that right?
Lynn University.
Yeah, Lynn University. And she basically gave like all of her fortune to that university, and they treated her like it was amazing. She passed away a few years ago, but she went to Princess Di's wedding funeral.
Wow.
It was like she's actual royalty on the German side, so she was like related to I think the guy who's king now, or so her husband was related to him somehow.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice city. No sports culture though. And I mean, back when I was getting started, I'd walk down the street with a microphone and ask people, who's going to win this Thursday night? And it was the Dolphins playing the Jaguars. Yeah. So you'd think like the Florida people would know, and nobody knew a thing. Everybody just said they like soccer, if anything, which I'm not that into. I won't lie. Even with Messi going there, I'm not a big soccer girl.
But will you make picks? Will you make soccer picks?
Oh yeah. I almost went last Tuesday. I'm so mad I didn't. It wasn't his second half debut and game winning goal. It was the game after. I think they won 3-0, and I almost went, but I was like, you know what? He had that big game the other day. I'm just gonna stay away. 'Cause probably not gonna do much. I'm gonna go next time I have the opportunity to watch the world's greatest soccer player. I will not say no. I will be going to a game. I will be going. Are you a soccer guy?
I do like watching the World Cup.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I do like soccer. I do like watching
and it's here. It's coming here, so that'll be a fun time. You said are you Kentucky? You said something about Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm in Kentucky. What'd you ask?
Okay, my boyfriend played soccer there for Kentucky.
Nice.
At UK, so he's a big. So that's why it's kind of funny that my school made the Final Four in basketball, because his basketball school did not. Just one thing I could, and he's a Bengals fan, so anytime I can like bust his balls a little bit about sports. But yeah, he's a big UK guy.
Well, the Bengals or the Bungles, they've had a rough go over the years, but it's tough. Yeah, soccer's huge out here. We have a I would say a AAA style team in Louisville, and there's all the major universities have teams, so even the smaller schools.
Yeah, I went to the crew game, a couple of crew games this year. We have the Columbus Crew, which they're fun. So they actually played Inter Miami last year in Columbus, and Miami everybody was saying they're so bad, Crew's gonna win, and I had the over, thank God, because the Crew got blown out by the worst team. And I imagine, do you like Messi to win it all now? Do you think that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the greatest player of all time, and he's not here like in his. It's not like when Beckham came here and Beckham needed a wheelchair to get around. Messi he still got it.
Yeah.
He's not. He's either right on the edge of past his prime.
Right.
Or he's He's past his prime, but I don't
Right.
think. But he's got a lot. His 75% is better than everyone but Mbappe in the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at some of the greats though, LeBron and even Brady going to the Bucks, and if you're that good and you go to a team that is not, before you got there, they weren't doing anything, and you can turn them into, you're the leader. That's why, people have been telling me when I say that, like, it's soccer, it's different, but no, he's the leader. If he can connect with the team, if he's that great, then he'll get in that locker room and make them something special. So if he does that, I'll never say another thing about him, but I'm curious. We'll
Right
see.
on. All right, so we talked baseball, basketball, soccer now, and football, of course, horse racing. What about fighting? Like, how do you handicap fighting?
So something funny, quick story. You're UFC, you follow UFC a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So growing up, I told you I was a cheerleader. I was a dancer. So before I did sports stuff all throughout high school, I taught dance. And I would do private lessons at this family's house in Boca Raton for years. And I mean, I had taught his daughters for years. And this guy drove like a minivan, this little bald guy. He'd show up, and I had no idea for years who he was. And I started working for DraftKings, and I realized it was John Anik,
Oh, wow.
like the voice of MMA. I had no idea it was this guy, because when I tell you, he doesn't seem or come off like he's anything. So between him and a couple of friends I knew that were in the business, I really do. That's something I stay away from. I mean, I did give out 3 baseball picks the other night. I didn't give out much of the fight. In the final, or in the main card, I took the over 2.5 rounds. So that was no fun. But if anything, I consult with them because it's not my forte. I never claim that. And I don't like taking something that the judges can alter. I've done that. I've been to fights. I worked the Teofimo Lopez, George Cambosos fight. Sat front row. That was one of my coolest things I've ever done with the sport, or that's boxing, but still fighting. And still then, I got all the insight. Teofimo's going to do it again. He's a world champ. Easy. George Cambosos wins. I'm like, I've tried. I try to stay away. People want them, so I give them out, but that is not my forte.
Well, maybe it's use take your dancing. Your dancing background, because it's not too, it's similar in a weird way. Instead of like just being artistic, you're punching and choking people, but there's some similarities there.
I did jujitsu for a couple of weeks. I took some jujitsu classes.
Get back in
I have
it.
the gi and everything.
Get back in it. Yeah.
I have the gi and everything. It got tough with traveling, and my coach also didn't like that I have nails. So didn't want the nails and everything. And then when we would roll at the end, I think it was my 3rd week, I'm rolling with this girl. She's a beast. She starts on the ground, I'm coming up, doing everything I can. She's going easy on me. And then after class, I hear the coach go to her, "I can't believe you're only 12. And I was like, wait a minute. A 12-year-old girl is kicking my ass.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't very good. Put it
Well,
that way.
no one's good, especially in the beginning. I mean, I suck, and I've been at it for almost a year now. But I rolled with a 14-year-old the other day. He was so big. He wasn't fat. He was really big. I couldn't even get him in my guard. My legs wouldn't wrap around him. And
what belt are you?
I'm a white belt. I'm a white belt with a stripe. But
Okay, you got a stripe.
but this kid was like in my guard, and I've got a choke on him, and he was like, it didn't even faze him. I was like, he was huge. I'm like, I was like, this kid will not. I'm not going to get submitted. I'm just going to like hold on here, and I did. I had him in my guard, just holding on to him right there for a 5-minute round. And,
that's funny.
And my grips were blown out.
Since I'm in Columbus, a lot of the girls I realized that do the class they wrestled at OSU. So I mean, they all have so much experience, and you just get thrown into There's a lot of all level classes, and those worked with my schedule. Probably should have stayed away from those, but they knew I was scared. I mean, I'd walk up, light tap, introduce myself, and I mean, they were easy on me, but I didn't want to chip a tooth. I stayed away. I had fun with it though, so I might get back into it after football season.
Well, just wear a mouthpiece. I did
Yeah.
chip a tooth. So
You did.
I chip a tooth, and I retore my rotator cuff,
Yeah.
and been in rehab with that. But I still go to the mats. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that'll
that's
help
another
you.
thing.
That'll help you appreciate UFC a little more.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I know that. Is it true that the best UFC fighters are great at jiu-jitsu?
I think that used to be the case. I don't think it is anymore. I think all of them have to have at least a moderate level of jiu-jitsu training. But I think wrestling and jiu-jitsu is huge for UFC. But early on, they would mop the floor with those guys because
Yeah.
people weren't familiar with it.
They didn't know how to get out of it. Yeah.
And if you think about it, the Gracie family with what they did for fighting, there were a handful of forms of fighting known throughout the world, and then they come on the scene in the 90s and they just changed everything.
Right.
So I mean,
What do you think about like the Pauls?
the Logan and
Okay.
Jake?
What do you think about that in the industry?
Well, they have a documentary out now, and I just saw
Yeah.
the preview of it, and talking about how everybody in the world hated him, and I was like, I kind of started feeling sorry for him, you know. And we actually share a lawyer too, so I know a good deal about him. I'm like, go for it. I don't.
Right.
Logan, and I've watched him box. Logan's like they're like real boxers. I mean, they get looks that they probably shouldn't for their for their stature,
Right.
but they're getting him, and they're holding their own. But I think they have a chance to be legit.
I think they're helping the industry. I mean,
absolutely.
Even the F1 documentary came out, and everybody now is into F1. I think that helped a lot. So definitely bringing, and some of these guys, boxing was dying for a while there. So I definitely think they're helping to bring recognition. At first, I thought they made kind of a mockery of it, but they've stayed committed, and everything. I watched that Fury fight. That was fun, and I did take Fury because I knew, for money purposes, for views, they'd want a rematch, which it's all about money, right? But so much goes into it, and they do. He doesn't look like an inexperienced kid anymore. He has some technique, and I root for the social media kids because I think that's cool. If you started on social media, and that's how I started everything with my career, and then you make it to this point, it's pretty cool.
I mean, there's so many opportunities to handicap. There's so much more opportunities if they get involved. There was even like a YouTube fight series a while back. I imagine that had a little action on it. But I think you should get back in jiu-jitsu and even consider handicapping jiu-jitsu tournaments, not just MMA.
Oh, jiu-jitsu tournaments. See, I can't believe that my instructor was even telling me about the tournaments, like, for me to get involved with. And just, my goal at the time was, I'm going to get a blue belt. I'm going to keep going. He gave me the whole sheet with what he was going to test everybody on, and that was, 6 months away. And I know I'm not a quitter. I still have my gi. I think I look cool in it. My TikToks are great. I do want to get involved, but it's gonna take a lot of commitment because it is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. I mean, you have to be in shape. You have to be committing to it and practicing outside of it. You can't just show up. That's right. It's good for you though. I mean, that stuff is a different kind of cardio. That kicks your butt.
Yeah, I've lost 30 pounds in it. It's been awesome. But I do a ranking every year called my top 100, and every now and then someone will give odds and numbers. Would you ever be interested in handicapping booze, like people who do? I mean, I like or handicapping something that's like Top Chef or something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How would you go about it?
You can bet on anything.
You could.
That's what I realized. You bet on the presidential elections. You can bet on who Tom Brady's going to date next. You can bet on anything.
Did you have Kim Kardashian on that list, by the way?
I did not, but I heard that was false.
Oh, was it? Oh.
I heard that was false. They were just being kind, but I knew she'd be going for it. Let's be real. She even went to see Messi at that game, and I was like, no, not Messi. I think he's got a family. But
yeah,
she's ready.
Everybody's like any guy of stature is like, no, stay away from her.
Oh yeah, but wait, so top 100. So what are we talking here? So you handicapping it as in?
So I taste, yeah. Okay. So predicting what would win, like doing odds. Like what I'll do is so any given year I'll taste between 1,000 and 2,000 spirits.
Okay.
And majority of that's whiskey, American whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
and I will unveil the ones that are going to make my top 100.
Right.
And then I will do a massive taste off where I taste them all and grade them and give and put them in the ranking of 1 through 100.
Wow. Yeah, I could handicap that. Are there odds set? Does anybody do that now and predict the winners?
No. I mean, people will predict it like on social media and stuff. I've
Gotta
always
get
thought,
that on the books. That sounds
was
fun.
Where there's a sports book that would probably have to be someone overseas. I don't see anyone really.
Or like a fun book like Barstool or something. I feel like you know what I mean? Like a sports book that isn't traditionally competing with like FanDuel, DraftKings. Gotta get somebody a little different. Everybody would be. That'd be great exposure for all the different types of whiskey. Though everybody's going to be drinking them, trying them, buying them to bet on it themselves.
Yeah, that's fair. I've always imagined that would be. I've always wondered what that would go like if that was handicapped, like based on my past tastings and stuff. But
when you do the tasting, is it like live in front of people? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be live, or some of it could be pre-recorded because it's very difficult to taste 100 spirits in a row without passing out, But
that's true. Yeah, by the end of it. Yeah, really. I would want to go at the end, though. I think if I would want to be the last one you try.
Yeah, well, that's not always.
No.
No, it doesn't always work that way. Oh, no. Any seasoned taster can, still taste one next to the other efficiently. But
I actually have a Kentucky bourbon distillery picture down here on the wall.
Ooh, what is it? What distillery is it?
It is. It just here. I'll pick it up and show you. This guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In there. Yeah. So it's this guy. But my boyfriend's very into again, and he went to Kentucky. So what got you originally started with? Were you just always a big bourbon guy, or what got you into this?
So I was always a bourbon fan,
right?
But from a professional perspective, I came home from Iraq in 2005, and the only job I could get, and I applied for a lot of them, was as a food editor. And I moved to Louisville to be with the woman who's now my wife. I got this job as a food editor, and I started writing about food, and you eventually write about alcohol. And then I went out on my own as a freelancer, and I started writing about bourbon in 2006, and it just kind of, I kept going and going and going, and then, I started writing books, and
that's awesome.
And it just kind of took off. But I was a writer, and I only got into podcasting and YouTube and stuff like that because there was the end was near for people making a living as a writer. Sadly,
everything switching to technology. Yeah.
No,
definitely. So do you have a favorite place? So I can even share with my boyfriend next time we're there to go get a glass of bourbon. What's your number one place you recommend to go?
In Kentucky? I'd say right now it's a place in my neighborhood called Watch Hill Proper.
Watch Hill Proper.
It's very swanky,
Okay.
but they have every bourbon known to man at the moment, and then a bunch of vintage stuff. Cocktails are great, but really what sets them apart is their food. Chef Michael Crouch is a genius, absolute genius
You're
in the kitchen.
foodie too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Favorite. I love cooking, but
right on.
I'm every night I love to cook, and I'm a mean chef. But what's your favorite dish? What kind of food are you into?
Ooh, I love
Especially
all.
some guy in the industry, and what's your favorite dish?
Man, if I could have I gotta tell you, there's not many things that I would pick over ribs, over like Memphis style barbecue.
Okay. Have you been to Kansas City?
Oh yeah.
They have some good barbecue there too.
It's Memphis versus Kansas City is like.
Oh yeah, their tailgates. They were playing Dallas, and it was when things were heated. Everybody hated each other, and I'm walking through the tailgates, and everybody has their own barbecue going on. And you walk through, and everybody just wants you to try their barbecue. It's one big, happy, greasy family, and I love it. I had the best time, the best food anywhere I traveled that year in Kansas City.
And they have so much to be excited about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The freaking best quarterback in the game.
Except the Royals. Except their baseball team.
Well, yeah, they won a World Series, a decade ago, so that's good enough, you know.
Yeah.
So you had the seal box bourbon, or the pour there. What did you think of it?
I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
It does have that sweet, almost like cinnamon twist to it a bit. It is good. It goes down very easily.
Awesome.
Do you have a favorite? You told me that
I think the Stellum. Yeah, that Stellum would probably be my favorite out of the crop I sent you.
Right. That's the one I will try next.
Yeah, you should, and make sure you share with your boyfriend.
Oh, definitely. He's going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, and let me know what he thinks. But I really appreciate you coming on. It was so exciting talking about your career and what you got going.
Thanks for having me.
Tell everyone how they can get your picks, how they can learn more about you.
Yes, my website is amandavance.com. My social media, every platform, TikTok, Instagram, is my full name, Amanda Casey Vance, Casey with a C. Picks go up every day, and I write. I'm not just I don't just throw up bets. I do whole analyses with every single pick. So it's more of a guidance for bettors, if anything. And football is my forte, so I'm looking forward to a very exciting football season, and it starts tomorrow.
Right on. And when this comes out, it'll already have happened, but not the Super Bowl is, but the game.
Okay.
But who's your picks for the Super Bowl?
I'll give you an AFC and an NFC. NFC, I'm going Philly.
They're returning. Okay. Yeah.
Philly or San Fran. Yeah, I think Philly will do it again. There's not much competition. And then AFC, if you would have asked me last week, before Burrow got hurt, I would have said the Bengals. This year, AFC, well, I'll give you a chalk, and I'll give you somebody who people are expecting. I'll give you the Jaguars as a long shot.
Wow.
I know. Again, long shot. Don't put your house on it. And then favorite, I'd have to go with the Steelers. I'm just kidding. Either Kansas City again or Buffalo. If Burrow's not healthy. If Burrow's healthy and starts week 1, everybody underestimates him, and I hate them. But they're going to be good. They're going to be good, and they'll get back there, and they will win one. In Burrow's lifetime, they will win a Super Bowl.
Well, it'll be good for a lot of people that listen to this show. We have a lot of listeners and viewers in Columbus and Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So,
go Buckeyes.
They are rabid fans. But again, thanks for coming on, Amanda. Excited to watch your picks for this year and the years to come. But
awesome.
Enjoy that bourbon out there.
Thank you. Good chatting.
Cheers. So that was Amanda Vance. She is a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And I kind of was like, when someone is a fan of a team, like I'm a fan of Oklahoma State. I've lost so much money betting on Oklahoma State. It's not even. You shouldn't bet the team you love.
Yeah, that's my point about
right.
betting with your feelings. And
Yeah. And what's your team? What's your team?
for the NFL, it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So
I've had some success here lately.
Get some.
it's been a pretty good last 20 or so years.
So who's your pro team?
So honestly, I was a Bengals fan until the Carson Palmer year when they went to the second round and lost. And I realized in that moment that we would never have a better team because we traded most of it. And I was like, that's what I'm done with NFL. But I've been a lifelong U of L college basketball fan.
And the most annoying fans, Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Cowboy fans.
I'm just gonna say I'm an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I mean they're I'm a former Cowboys fan, but when Jerry used eminent domain to build Jerry World, I was out. That bugged me, but just saying.
I kind of find New
I'm a
England
college
fans to
fan.
be a little bit annoying.
Who?
New England fans.
That's only recent. When they start losing again, they're all going to go away. They're not. They're not. I don't find New England Patriot fans to be real fans. Like Dallas Cowboy fans, they haven't won shit in a long time, and they still feel like they're always going to win. New England, you've already started to see New England fans wane. Like they are like they talk about Brady. That would be like the Cowboy fans talking about Roger Staubach in the 90s or in the 80s when they went 1-15. You know, they didn't do that. They were like with that team. While the Cowboys fans are kind of annoying, they are very loyal and they believe in that team. So they are real fans. I think the New England fan.
Hold on. Wait. So you can't take a fan who won in the last decade, right? Multiple times in the last decade compared to a fan base who hasn't won in literally this century.
But the thing is like when New England stops winning,
Okay.
I think they're going to go away. I don't think they're going to stick around.
Like
That's what
if
I
you
mean.
look, what I'm saying is, if you look at Belichick's,
So we're still like blind loyalty.
I
like
don't know.
Cubs
We'll have to
fans.
see.
Yes.
Okay.
Cubs
all right.
fans.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
okay,
Are
all
also annoying.
Well,
you're going
I'm
for
a
it
Bruins
all.
guy. But that being said,
well, we'll have to see because the Patriots have experienced a lot of winning. Maybe the fans are just taking a
Yeah.
break. So, but you got to give them credit.
well, we'll see. We'll see where their quarterback goes. But I know this. Amanda gave a lot of great advice on who her picks are going to be in the Super Bowl. You're going to be happy about that, obviously. But you know,
One of the great things that she said during the interview was, "Don't trust the public. The public is always wrong when they bet." That's
Yeah.
probably one of the best advice I think she said. It was.
I agree. I don't bet sports. So that's going to do it for the Amanda Vance episode. Thank you, Jamar, Dan, Eric, for joining.
Cheers.
And of course, Dallas for this.
Thank you,
incredible
Dallas.
Thank you,
cocktail
Dallas.
here.
This is awesome.
So
Appreciate
here we
it.
go. So the next episode we have one of my favorite bands of all time, Bad Religion. Cheers.
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 Cheers.